Bonjour, hello everyone. I'm Nata, host of the Nata PR School podcast. You're a successful entrepreneur or marketing manager and you're about to launch a new product or service, or you've been selling your goods for quite some time, but you want to learn how to increase your visibility, get known, and reach more clients? At Nata PR, we deal with real clients every day and we'll teach you simple, fun, and honest PR solutions. You'll learn easy steps to combine PR to social media right now. Keep listening and let's get started. Bonjour, hello, and welcome to this 70th episode of the Nata PR School podcast. Yes, 70, I can't believe it. I'm delighted to welcome Andy Thê-Anh. And a talent that's so incredible that I admire so much is a talented stylist, a fashion designer, and he knows fashion inside out. So I'm so excited to welcome Andy Thê-Anh today. And we'll be talking also about Lululemon and talk about, the behind the scenes secrets and why they're so successful. But before that, let me introduce Andy. So for those who are listening to my previous podcast where I present people, that I talk a lot before I let them speak. So let me introduce Andy. But if you want to know more about Andy, you can always check. I'm going to put the link also at the bottom of the podcast. There's a whole page on Andy Thê-Anh on the Canadian Encyclopedia. So if you click on the link, you'll find tons of information. But I just want to summarize who it is very quickly. So Andy was born in Saigon, Vietnam, and came to Canada. He was, 16 years old. And he has won so many fashion awards. I'm not going to name them all, so you'll find all these information on the Canadian Encyclopedia. And before creating a brand that was called POW, way before women have now the power they have today. So I always think that Andy's always ahead of his time. So he created this brand, Power of Woman, POW. He was hired by very high-end brands in Canada, such as Raffinati, Irving Samuel, Parasuco jeans. And then after that, after Pau, he also created a brand under his own name, the Andy Thê-Anh brand. That was an amazing brand. I miss that brand so much, Andy. It was a very glamorous collection, amazing suits and amazing gowns, glamorous gowns. And if I would show you everything that Andy designs, because he's worked with so many companies, also worked with LOLĥ in Canada. For many years, he was head of design for the LOLĥ brand. He created so many this is something I'm sure everybody would see if I would show you a crazy glamorous gown, a suit, a shirt, or something from LOLĥ. I'm sure people would recognize your style, this is talent, people. So if you want to know in a nutshell what is talent, this is what it is. When you recognize a signature, this is when you see the real talent. And so today, Andy is a free creator. So he helps any brands who wants to work with him find sometimes, a new way of telling a story about their own brand. And so voila. So thanks, Andy, for agreeing to join me for this podcast. I will let you speak now and talk a little bit more about who you are. And we'll be talking about Lululemon today as well, as I just mentioned previously. Thank you, Andy, for accepting my invitation today.
Wow, thank you for inviting me, first of all, and congratulations for this podcast. My God, you have been doing it the 70.
I know,
70,
yeah.
That is long. That is good.
More than a year. Huh? There's 52 weeks in a week. So this is my second year.
So that is great. Congratulations
Thank
for
you.
That. And how are you doing? You must be doing well.
I'm doing great. And let me ask by my first question that I ask all my guests. I want to know who you are. So who is Andy Thê-Anh?
Wow. Who is Andy Thê-Anh? Oh my God. First of all, I would say that I am a husband to my husband from, we've been in together for 29 years. And that was my first job and duty, if you want, like to get to work, to be with him. And I think that is my reason to be. And second of all, I would say I would mostly consider myself as a stylist, a stylist, like a designer and a concept designer mostly, or storytelling. So
I love that. Yeah, you are a
so
storyteller.
mostly, it's a more
True fashion, huh?
exactly. Because I think that because I love fashion, and I think that I love also history of fashion. I love where does it come from. I love art in general. Mostly love movies and books. So I think that that is that is how it come from, I guess. And that at the end of the day, when you go through this, it's a story to tell, and we always hook to a story mostly more than anything else. Like even if in the book, if you have beautiful covers, but the book, like the story inside is nothing, doesn't help. And the same thing with fashion. Like even if you have a beautiful gown, but it doesn't mean anything to you. It doesn't do anything, right? You don't. So that I think that the storytelling is the most important thing for me.
This is so interesting.
And
because we tell a story by the way we dress, right?
Yeah.
So that's interesting what you're saying.
And if you remember when we work together, we always in every collection and even when I work for different brands, every season is a story to tell, right? So that we come up with a story and why we're doing this and why we're doing that. So I think that I would consider myself more that way. Yeah.
This is so true, and I will always remember the Frida Kahlo collection.
Yeah, it's true.
Because that was such a great. This is a perfect example because then all the but this is. When you talk about, or you mention Frida Kahlo, then you have all these images in your head and how you can tell a story through Frida and adapt it to clothing was such a beautiful brand, right?
Yeah.
A collection, I'm sorry, that you created by then. So you are, to me, you're an artist, you're a creator. And
I'm not sure I can
able to tell a story through
an artist because it's like it's a big word for me. I find I'm still learning and try to do it, but I'm more like a concept, or like I love building concept and doing that. So I think that mostly
and creating concept.
Yeah.
And before we jump into Lululemon. I want to hear you about, because you've seen so many high fashion brands, so you've learned from really like high end brands. So how is it today? So how is your profession has evolved? So what is a designer, a creator? What do you think is your role today?
My God, of course, it's changing for sure. It's evolved in different things for sure. Before we consider it like design a beautiful product, designing and this will sell, and designing a beautiful dress, a beautiful shirt, and make sure that the detail is right. It still is today, but it's not enough. I don't think. But that has become...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but it's not enough, right? Because right now people relate to a story behind it. So that's why I think that today fashion is split a bit to two. I think that the fashion business, or I can say the clothing business, have split into two. And maybe it's always been there, but now for me, a bit more obvious.
It's more obvious.
Yeah, I think and you have one side is the commodity. So you're answering to a need that people want. And the other side, you have fashion and you have trends, and you answer to another spectrum and experience that people who looking for something a bit more. So, and like just beside the commodity. So I think that one you have to be clear in every brand, in every collection, on every label that you want to work on. I think that need to be identified in the beginning what you want to do. And I think that's how fashion is today. Are you
commodity or are you more fashion?
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting.
And you know what? You can be successful one side or the other. I can
of course.
name like for example, like a coat, Canada Goose.
Yes.
When you think Canada Goose, first of all, it's a warm winter coat. So
the warmest winter coat.
You know what? It's become the commodity that you need because you need a warm coat. But when you're talking about fashion, I would say Montclair is a bit more fashionable because
Yes.
they have put in the design, the way that they tell the story, the way that they collaborated with different designer every season. So that is, more like a trend. So a trend is a fashion statement, right?
Yeah,
So I
because
think
people want to wear T-shirts, which is a commodity, but you have all kinds of T-shirts. You have
exactly.
high-end
So
T-shirts, low-end T-shirts. But they want T-shirts, they want
mhm,
jeans, and
exactly.
then they want to have something special to that will maybe more represent who they are. Like fashion is, I guess, super important to tell our own story, right?
Mhm.
Every human needs a bit of fashion to to present who they are to the world in a sense.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And and the business also is changing because of the consumer is changing. Also, the attitude of the people, the way of people is changing. So now I think that people love fashion or love trend or love something. They're looking for a little more story behind it. They need something to talk to them, and beside the commodity is something else, right? Why Apple, like comparing with the phone, right? Why Apple is you have the customer of Apple and you have the rest of it, right? So I think that is like depending each company have building their own storytelling and their community, if that's what you talk about. I never think that community become a fashion things, but that's what it is. Like everybody now need to be related to it. So
That's interesting. So let's talk about Lululemon. Otherwise, you and I, we can talk for
yeah.
weeks and months about what's happening in the
Yeah.
fashion industry. So what do you think are the key factors of the Lululemon's success? What do you think is, why are they so successful?
Oh my God! I think that it's the first brand that I think that understanding how to talk directly to the consumer, and I think
Oh, that's
that
so
yeah,
good.
yes, because I think that when they just starting, um, I think that people all know how Lululemon started, right? But it's just like a little bit recap. Is the
Yeah.
because of this studio, the Ship Wilson had like the person that
But
who
let's say first of all, it's a Canadian brand, huh, Andy? So
exactly
let's
based
mention
on
this.
Vancouver.
It's a
It's
Canadian
true.
based
It's
of
true.
Vancouver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for people don't know, it's the
Yeah,
Lululemon from
and they're about
Vancouver.
30 something years old. Vancouver,
Exactly.
they've been
In
around for 30 something year.
exactly. So I think that I think that Ship Wilson like is a person who active, love acting, technical clothing, like snowboard and everything. So to support his design, to pay rent of his design studio, he rented out to do a yoga
That's
and teaching
crazy.
yoga in the evening, and he listened to all these people come to do yoga talking, and that's what he created need. Like he answered first of all, he answered a need to those people, and after that become creating a need to the rest of the world, right? So that's what I always said. Like you create a need or you answering to a need. So I think that he did from
For so
one
good,
side to the
yes.
other, he
Yeah.
created a need, and he also
So
create
really listen to the yoga people, the
exactly.
yogi, or even the ones
But
who are taking classes, right? The women and
exactly.
men who
So
are
I think
taking
that is more.
classes.
He created community from the beginning, and what I like about that story is the product is behind the community and behind the brand. It's not the product. It's not. They don't try to sell the product first. They try to sell the community, the wellness being anything. And I think that they starting point come at the right time at the moment, because certainly because especially in North America, we focusing on work, running and do 3 jobs at a time. Bring the kid to piano player, to hockey player, quality things, so everything like all together, right? So I think that
Yeah, this is true. They
yeah.
were
So
really
we've been running all the time.
incredible. Yeah, but they captured the trend way before. Like
Yeah.
today, it seems obvious, the yoga trend in North America.
So
But back
exactly.
in those days, at the end of the 90s, beginning of 2000, like yoga was just at the beginning. It wasn't
Exactly.
such a
So I
crazy
think
trend
that
as it
they
is
just like
today.
initiated. I think that trend, like telling women that coming in and take time for yourself, and like think about yourself and being like take
Yeah,
1 hour
yeah.
to kind of focus on you, and so eat well, healthy, festive, and also it's a lot of things happening in that time, and just tap into that well-being and rise it up. So I think that is, I think, become a movement. So I think get Lululemon
So true.
answering to an evolution of a society and create a cult. And I think because their message at the end of the day is very authentic, so they stay true to who they are. So I think that's what they have, a very loyal customer who following them, despite everything happened to them in, like 2010 and that period. They're like up and down, and like, they lost a lot of money, blah blah blah. We all know
Right,
what
the
happened
crisis
to
about
them.
the famous legging, transparent legging,
exactly.
and some
So,
let's
despite
say some of the, let's say the some
controversial
managers
or
said some regrettable
comments
words
and things like that. So
comments.
So I think that despite all those, but the thing is, we sometimes, some company that focus only the marketing, the branding, forgot and neglect on the product, and or sometimes it's the reverse, like concentrate on so much of the product, and the marketing is not as good at the product. So I think that this is the first time that you see that the message and the product like go hand by hand and push it. So that's why Lululemon still today, is a very good product to go, and they expand into different field. But behind first of all, they concentrate and doing a good product, and I think they learned the lesson with those like transparent.
But this is so interesting what you're mentioning, because they were the first of creating a community. Now it seems obvious. Every brand is doing it. People now understand that you need to create, your your base of fans and your base of consumers. So, but this what we call the community, online community. But that was before internet existed when Lululemon started that. And as you mentioned, so they were opening stores. Also, they had this model that at the time was new. They were opening stores and selling directly to consumers and having the yoga class in all of their stores at night.
Yeah,
that's so smart.
Yes, I think that they are I think they think that the first one who refused to doing wholesale, so they go directly to retail. So that is the one is the rare model
to sell to
that
big
we
stores.
have. It's a brand. It's not a store, right? Because when you open store, it's like you carry a few different things, and they only. It's very rare that you can see that a store open and selling one type of product, because when you open a chain store, for example, like Chateau, saying you offer like a spectrum of different of clothing, right?
Yeah,
over here they just like go for that. So and they don't want to do wholesale, and they talk, and I think that they keep their message clear with the customer, and I think that they want to talk directly to the customer. So I think, and listen to the customer too. So I think that's how they build that brand so successfully.
Because they're really good at, you mentioned that in the French podcast, I can say it's you were mentioning that they're really good at keeping the clients, the clients they have now, and they're really good at recruiting new ones, younger generations.
Right, and I think that they talk to, because I think that what I like about that product is because sometimes when you talk about fashion, you talk about clothing, you suddenly give an age to this is a brand for like teenager. This is a brand for women that are going to work, or this for typical. So, but Lululemon is one of the first brand that I saw that they can reach out to 16 years old girl until 80 years old woman, right?
So
and they
That's
have
amazing.
they create a lifestyle. It's become a lifestyle, and I think they tap into that movement that like when like people just want to be comfortable, and and they create the legging that I think that start from they usually call it like from studio to the street. It means that you can wear everywhere. So those look will become like a staple for decades and until now. That you can wear the same thing to go to the gym, the yoga class, and at 8 o'clock in the morning, and go have brunch with your girlfriend, and then at 10 o'clock after that, having coffee, and So I think that what they have create something that launching like a movement, and up until now become a stable, like for until today, like everybody wearing that during the weekend now, or doing grocery.
So
or doing
true. You can
something,
wear
right?
it even to work now. Like it's acceptable. So especially after pandemic, everybody was wearing like super comfortable clothes. That's
working
crazy,
from
right?
home. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And Lululemon is now the official designer for Canada's Olympic athletes. I think for the next two coming Olympics. Do you think it's a good strategy? Is it? What do you think about that?
I think it's a great. I think it was a great strategy for them because they certainly consider that they just put like a stepping stone in the active wear. Like they can set they can get in and be in the same level of Nike, Adidas, and all the Under Armour because they gear to professional athlete, right? Because before when you're talking about Lululemon yoga clothes, it's more like an active lifestyle for people that want to be active but not necessarily a professional. So you can wear that like comfortable, technical enough to do active, but like comfortable enough to wearing every day. So now they just reaching to another level. Is mean that the professional people can wear and doing like being active and be sportive at the same time. But what I like is they didn't switch their mandate and create professional clothes for professional. They still in that lifestyle spectrum. So you can wear it to like when you see that coat coming out.
If you like to run, if you like to do any other activities, right? And then yoga, you don't need to do yoga to
it's adapt to every lifestyle you want, and it's transformation that you can take it out, remove it, become a scarf, everything. So they still stay in their zone, but they just like give a message to the world that yes, we become professional and we support the professional athlete.
That's so interesting. We'll see. I think they will succeed at becoming, as you say, top of mind when people think about activewear. They think of Adidas or Nike. So the Nike, they want to become the new Nike in the head of other customers.
For sure. And I think the world is big, so they have place for them first. So, but I think with the Olympic, it's like they give them a big window that maybe like nobody can buy. Like they take a lot of time to reach to the whole world. But I think that by associate with the Canadian Olympic team it's help them to reach like how many million of people.
And that's so smart. That's so smart. Like from a PR point of view, their agency must be so happy because they have all those stories now to tell about the brands. They can link into different sports and work with athletes too. They have access to top athletes, to top Canadian athletes, which is so smart. I personally, I think it's a smart move.
I believe that the athlete today is still the most respectful people that like people consider that the most respectful. So when an athlete endorse, like a label and things like that, people like have that like believe in it, and people will
you think it gives the brand a credibility
for sure. Like look, David Beckham, like I don't know how many years that he retired, but he's still out there support. They still have his fan, and everything he does. People respect. But that is an audience by itself. If you into that, for sure, you will have that. You will have that. And God's sake, who doesn't love sport in this time of age, right? So that's what. So I think that is a big publicity stunt for them.
Yeah. So it's a brand to follow, my dear listeners. Let's see what's going to happen in the next 2 years. That's going to be very interesting. So tell me, since COVID, we started to dress differently. And what do you think are the trends that emerging now that we're almost through it, hopefully?
Yeah, hopefully. Let hope. But I think that fashion will change for sure. And not fashion is in the way that how people consuming fashion is will change for sure. And I think that because certainly you don't need clothes for work and you don't need clothes for going out, and now certainly like everything like mixed up right now and everything is just acceptable. But I think that I wouldn't blame it on COVID, but that is already starting before COVID, because
Okay.
because the new generation has come up. It's a little bit less formal. I know some friends that is
True.
lawyer, they don't wear tie anymore to go. Before they have to wear tie in a certain, size, certain way, certain color. Now it's not that anymore. Casual Friday is like almost every
Doesn't
day.
exist. It's casual every day.
It's casual every day. They don't have to wear a tie when they sit down with a customer. They have to be more relatable. So I think the border between the workloads, and it was like getting like more fluid than ever. But it changed in different way for me. It's become like right now I think that people suddenly said that, oh, I don't need this type of clothes, or I don't need this type of clothes anymore, right? So
That's interesting.
I think that I need different type. So that's what I think. What do we need now? That is the whole industry is asking right now. Yes,
That's the question everybody's asking.
Before,
What's
of
going to
course,
be the new trends?
yeah, of course, you do need the commodity. When you need your jeans is run out, or your t-shirts is run out, you need a new pair of jeans. That is something for me is commodity. But you don't change your pair of new jeans every week, right? Or every season. Because if you invest enough in high quality, that lasts for 10 years, like all the jeans
There's a trend that I heard. Many brands now are using this more and more, like the sustainable, buying less and having clothes that will last longer. So we'll see. There's the slow fashion movement.
But
we'll see where it's going to go.
Yeah, but I think that sustainable is thing that if you invest enough in high quality and durable clothing, it lasts for you forever. So that's why I said depending what that you want.
What's your definition of sustainability too, right?
And do you want, what? So that's why I said that if you think that when I buying clothes even for myself, I said that how many years I can wear this thing, and how many outfits I can make with it. How many do?
That's
so
a
before
question
to buy,
you have in your mind.
Of course, all the time, because especially when you pay a little more higher price range and a little more quality, you have to think, okay, if I invest in those, it have to last a couple of years for me, right?
Many years.
Yeah. So, and how do I recycling and wear it differently every year? Because of course, we are human, so we always want something new.
You always want something new.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So something new that you have to. So that's why you have to limit yourself. But everything, I think that behind it. Have to think about now everything. All the brand have to rethink that how they is affect the environment, right? Because right now when you see, we didn't mention it before, but I think that the new designer from Chloe is Gabriella Hurst. She's just like hiring during COVID. I think just before COVID to join the team. And her idea is sustainable, like recycling and everything. And she cut down everything. Usually we do big. She said that usually we do big runway show with 65 looks. She bring it down to 30. The message is clear. She reused all the fabric. Yeah. So if you listen to her story, that's what she said. She started and plan all those steps into everything. So it's not only in clothing, but the way that you're thinking, the way you live too, right? When you're talking about it. So that's why I said the what the fashion is just a fraction is in the corner of the whole system, right? So when you think about it, you have to think about all what affect the rest of it, right? So what she did is Gabriella for Chloe. What she did is she reused all the leftover fabric. She helped, so she bring it to certain community that help using handmake and like to help out these women, to rebuild their life and things like that. So she's starting a lot of movement like that I respect it a lot. And even in the store, usually in the year 2000 up until now, all the big luxury store that always have that big screen, with LED line and with video projection, 24-hour thing. She cut down all those. She said that is too much energy consuming. So she said that we don't need that. Go back focus on the clothes, on everything. So I think that is the few things that I mentioned, but I think that is the
This is part of the
new
future,
way,
eh?
the new
I
way.
agree.
Do we need, with everything we have, we have
Do we need all
this
these
flatting,
crazy, huge
So
fashion shows?
so I
And
think that is the
that's
first
interesting.
step that she's doing, and I think that is if they are the leader, right? So if they can set the example for everything else, so that would be great.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. So let's talk about social media, because it's such a big part of our life, and it's going to be, for sure, it's not going to disappear. It's part of what everybody's using on a daily. Really, we use social media, all of us, I guess, on a daily basis.
Yeah. I think social media right now is mostly for me become like a tool for publicity. I think that if you use it right, it's very good. But if you don't know how to use it, it can become a flashback very fast. So I think that it's very careful. Not everything can be on social media. I think that so like before you said you have to control. You need to control your image on a paper. You need to control your image anyway on the social media too. And the thing is, I think it's more like, for me, it's become more like a yellow page in a way for people who looking for stuff and things like that, so they can find it easier. I think that it's
so
not
true. Like, we used to be in those yellow pages, in those huge book where you could find a phone book, right?
Exactly. But
that don't exist anymore.
There, I don't want to discuss about the other side of the media, because that is, miss or hit. You like it, you don't like it. If you're watching Social Dilemma on Netflix, what is look like. But I think that social media can be good, and that is a inevitable tool right now in this moment of the society that all the brand need to use, because that is the only way right now to communicate it with the new generation, and even a little bit older generation still, but they still get into it. So that's the only way that communicate with them and to go talking to them. So I think that is how social media is important. But again, it's create community. So you have to be careful also, because you're always going to talk with the social media does is going to always give you the same thing all the time. So you have to be select and choose what you want to listen and what you don't want to listen.
Yeah, be careful of that. The algorithm sometimes just sends you more of the same. If you start researching, I don't know, high jewelry, and you just do that for like a week, you'll end up seeing diamonds in your researches everywhere. I did that exercise just for fun, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Just to see how the algorithm sends me the more of the same.
Yeah, that's what I think it's bad about it, is like doesn't give you anything else, like, because it's got like sending you always.
This is why we have to be careful. You're so right.
So, but it's a little bit more demanding for sure, because now you have to think, and you have to instead of letting them thinking for you, you have to think, and you have to build your own mind. And I think that we should have that today. We should.
It's a tool with two sides. There's this amazing side where you can reach people from all over the world, which I find crazy amazing. But sometimes even my younger generation, I often think about my young employees, they're not conscious that everything you put there stays there. So this is why you're conscious of that, because you're conscious of how to build a brand image and what it needs. And you know that if you put something out there, it might hit you. It might be a good thing, but it might be a hit. And if it's a hit, you have to be really careful of what you put out there.
Exactly. But what I find is funny is, does that happen before? We have to do the same thing before. Like that's why PR is all about. Like control the message. You just have the same voice, and nobody have to do. So I think, why do we did before, and suddenly on the social media we don't do it
I know.
Anymore.
This is what I tell my clients.
Exactly. So that's why I think that it's not
like our marketing knowledge from before is still good.
They just
who are you talking to?
Yeah. Before
exactly.
you have to send out a paper, you have to But the only thing right now, you reach a little more of audience because you go directly to them. But it's the same thing. You have before you have to pass through magazine, you have to pass through a newspaper to reach out some people. Now you have to pass through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and things and TikTok to reach to somebody else. So I think it's just a tool that different. So I think that we shouldn't do
more tools.
Yeah. So you have to use it like that instead of thinking this is going to help us.
Yes. Absolutely. But sometimes and I can understand our clients. Sometimes they're not connected like we both of us are. So they think all of a sudden that TikTok is the new recipe for success. But this is what I tell them. I said, well, who are you targeting? Because, well, it's changing, but maybe now it's a little soon to be, if you're selling anti-aging cream, maybe you can do some other things before investing a lot of money in TikTok, right?
You see, so before, you don't do that on Teen Vogue. You don't put those publicity on Teen Vogue, right? You would do it in Vogue or Bazaar, something like that. So that way, I think that sometimes that I think it's weird that we don't, we don't.
But we always look for the new,
publicity is the same. It's always there's just the platform is changing. So you have to think it that is that way, right?
So true.
Yeah.
Andy, I have to reinvite you to talk about some other brands. So next time, I can send people listening to this episode and you want to know more about Andy, go and listen to episode number 70, and we'll analyze some other brands because it's so much fun to see, what they did, why they chose to do certain publicity stunt or
I would love that because that is like my job today.
I'll reinvite you.
I would love to analyze it and see because that give you a hint, right? The learning how and to can apply into
how they created their success.
Exactly.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can learn from the success.
Exactly, it's always a learning. It's just a learning path, right? All the time.
Oh, for sure, learning process.
Yeah.
So how can people find you? What's the best way?
The best way, you know what? I think that LinkedIn, so you can reach me for there.
I'll put the links below
or Instagram. I'm Instagram. It's like for me, it's like now like yellow book now. So when you go into looking for something, you just go on Instagram.
Yeah, and if you have a brand, that's been around for a long time, or even a new brand, even if you're young, contact Andy. He's going to be happy to give you advice.
Perfect.
He will tell you if he can help you or not. I'm sure. Just like me.
Yeah, like what I'm doing right now. I have a lot of free
consultation.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm doing for right now for Iris Satlakwi for the last 2 years, so helping you driving through the COVID period, and also like try to reach out to different customer. That's what we try to do right now. So I think that's what I would love to do.
Yeah, don't hesitate to contact Andy for sure. Mm-hmm. And before we wrap up, so what can we wish you? Like for a short term, long term?
I think it's being happy, stay with my husband forever. And also I think and I think that I love what I do, to be honest. I always loving what I do. I'm very passionate for what I do. So I hope I can doing this for the longest time that I can.
I wish you become our what's the name of this?
The Karl Lagerfeld.
Wait, I want you to be the But he was creating until the day he died. Like he created for like I don't know how many years,
but that he's one of the luckiest that can do that. Can do that until the last day.
I wish you that. I wish you find something.
Not sure my husband would like it, but
until the end. That's interesting. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Andy, for being my guest today. It was so much fun.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much.
I hope, you, my friend listeners, that you've learned a few things, that this podcast is helpful, because that's the whole idea. I want to do this to help people, give you some ideas, give you the time to think about your business, because this is what I love to do. I listen myself to so many podcasts, and it's like a little break in my crazy life to find some other new ideas, and it makes me sometimes think about my business in a new way and find new solution. And you have all the information behind this podcast, so you can also reach out, and I'll be happy to give you a free consultation and hear about where you are and what you're doing. I love that. And I hope you'll be there and be joining me next week. À la semaine prochaine. Hey, you want to learn more about how to implement PR strategies? Head on to natapr.com and get on our list. You will also receive the Nata PR model on how to create a successful PR campaign. If you want to become a client, just send us an email to nata@natapr.com. Talk to you next week. À la semaine prochaine.